having women's basketball experience and specifically WNBA experience should still have value.
Welcome to We Need to Talk Now, presented by AT&T. I'm Alicia J, and I'm here with Erica L. Ayala. She looks all cozy in the coffee shop. You know what I'm saying?
Hey.
You look like you ready to talk some hoops, because that's what we're going to be talking about today. We're officially in women's college basketball season and college basketball in general. You definitely are in there. That's it.
It's also hoodie season. Let's go. Let's go.
Yes. Look, I'm cozy over here too.
Sweater weather.
All of that. I just need my beanie. I need to add my beanie, and then we'll be straight.
You see where I'm going. All right. Warmth is the word of the season.
For sure. In the season that we're in, we're so excited to talk all things college basketball. But first, we want to remind you, lock in, because we have a lot of things that we're going to talk about when it comes to women's college basketball and women's sports in general. You want to connect in all ways. You see Erica's information here, my information, and at We Need to Talk. So make sure that you're locked in, that you subscribe, like, comment, do all the things. And we're going to give you a QR code right here that will take you directly to everything that you need to know when it comes to We Need to Talk Now, and every single way that you can lock in with us to hear these amazing conversations like the one you're going to hear today. So Erica, listen, college basketball has kicked off. We are in the thick of it. It has been so amazing. I wouldn't say that the games, there's been maybe like one game that has been like really, really, truly like phenomenal and amazing. But the other ones, they're just getting their temperature checks when it comes to, the teams that they're playing right now. But it's been great to see everyone. And while we are going to do like a full week one takeaway show next week, today we need to talk about the freshmen. Now, there are some amazing freshmen in women's college basketball. And, we hear a lot of the same names that are thrown around. But today we're going to talk about underrated freshmen in women's college basketball. It's going to be an amazing season by all fronts, what we're seeing so far. But which freshmen do you think that we should be looking out for?
Listen, like you said, it's such an interesting season, I think, for women's college basketball, because even last year we started to see some teams really vying to bust out into that really super elite level. And with incoming freshmen, there's always that chance for some teams, right, to make some moves. So I love that we're doing this. I love that we're talking about this. And I have to start with Kansas State. And they actually, Alicia, have a player that has already been drafted to the WNBA. Now, for those wondering, and I know we've talked about this on the show before, but when you are an international player coming to the domestic league of the U.S. domestic league, the WNBA, there are no age requirements that that we see on the side of those who are U.S. born. So Natsia Klassens has already been drafted by the Washington Mystics. She has not played for them yet. She was a part of that 2024 draft class. So that's the Caitlin Clark draft class, right? But she has not made her pro debut. But the Washington Mystics effectively own her rights. But she is a player that has played with, honestly, someone who will probably go down as a Mystics legend, the one and only Emma Misseman, who of course made her return to the WNBA with the New York Liberty, but she's played with her, Misseman, on Team Belgium. So this is someone who's got Olympic experience. That was Belgium's first Olympics. She, as far as we know, is, if not the only, certainly one of the few that is drafted before going into the NCAA. And I just like her game. She's a forward. She has really great footwork from what I've been able to see, and is definitely someone that you need to talk about this season and that you need to watch.
I couldn't agree more. And it was crazy when I was doing a little bit of background on her that she would even be underrated. Like, she should be one of the ones that is talked about, in the top 10 or whatever, especially with her professional experience. Yep. Not to mention that she already has her rights owned by a W team, Her first game, she had 12 points, 1 assist, and 6 rebounds in 20 minutes, which is a huge impact for that team. she's definitely one to watch. And I think it's interesting in general, to see like, why would somebody, pick to go down to college? But it isn't even down to me. I think it's like one of those things that everyone should experience. It shapes you as a player. And then also is smart in her instance, because if you look at the CBA and what is happening, you're getting experience, you're playing in the US, you're getting a college experience too, right? In your kind of like arsenal as a basketball player. And then you're going to go into contracts that are better when you are,
100%.
ready to go to the WNBA. So
yeah,
definitely one to
100%.
watch.
All of that. It's a good business move. And, it's very reminiscent of what we see on the hockey side, on the men's side, or even baseball to some extent, where players are drafted in their teens. And then most of them, the overwhelming majority, do either play junior hockey or they will play, in the NCAA system before then going to the team that owns their rights. It's a little bit different on the women's side. Usually you're drafted and then you go immediately, but it could be interesting. Is this something that we see in the future? We've seen draft and stash before, but again, just an interesting player to watch, which also comes with an interesting storyline to watch for women's basketball.
Absolutely. So we will definitely be locked in on her and her play this year. But somebody else that I am going to keep my eye out on for sure is Taylor Barnes from Cal. 6 foot forward. She's from Grand Prairie, Texas. She had 17 points, 5 assists, and 10 rebounds in the home opener. And they did lose to Vanderbilt in Paris. Like, it was a loss for the team, but I loved what I saw from her. She started for this Cal team, so started as a true freshman. She helped them take a 9-point lead in the second quarter. I like that she's already leading in a way as a freshman. It can be so hard to come in and make an impact like that right away. And Cal itself, I mean, they need to work on some things, including turnovers for sure. But she is a freshman that when I watched her, love her game, love the way she plays it, love the confidence she has going into this. And I think she's going to make a huge impact for her team this year. So Taylor Barnes, definitely one to watch. And I had to put a little Bay Area with the Cal in there. So.
I ain't mad at that. I love that pick. And yeah, Cal is an interesting team. I'm very curious to see if they are one of those teams that I talked about that can kind of, move up in the ranks a little bit. But like you said, they got some work to do. But another player that I am keeping eyes on, and listen, there are just certain people in women's basketball at any level that when they speak, I'm going to listen. And I'm going to let y'all know right now. Even though I grew up rooting for Maryland, I thought I was going to go to Maryland. That's a whole nother story. But when Duke picked up Kara Lawson, I was like, y'all did something with that. And when Kara Lawson says that one of her freshmen has the ability to just be able to problem solve, this is probably one of the most cerebral, high IQ players, coaches that I've ever personally had the chance to speak to in Kara Lawson. And if she's seeing that in one of her freshmen, then that's high praise. And that's exactly what we're hearing Lawson say about Emily Skinner, a 6-foot guard, 4th best prospect in the country. She's put out there as someone who can play both sides of the ball at the point guard. And this is what I really love, because we're seeing a lot of hybrid guards or backcourt players that maybe do a little bit of this, a little bit of that. But the fact that she's highly intelligent, can play both sides of the ball, I think that's going to create what could potentially be a great NCAA, and if she wants, pro career for someone who already, again, from Kara Lawson's mouth, is someone who just is able to problem solve. She can use her high basketball IQ to get her teammates involved. And that's exactly what you want in a point guard. And this is a Duke team that we saw in the tournament, Alicia. They were ready because of their defensive discipline. They were ready to upset some folks. They have to get over the hump, and that has to come from the offensive side. So I'm very curious to see what Emily Skinner can do, and if she can help to facilitate a little bit more creativity for Duke.
Yeah. And, coach, she shoots it real straight. Kara Lawson, she shoots it real straight. So when she's
Wow.
giving you high praise, there's something to look at and something to take note of. Okay.
That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying.
And you weren't lying about the offense. I really hope they turn that up because it is a
Have to.
really talented team, including her. It's a talented team that really could go far. I mean, we saw what they did last year, and their defense is stellar, but it's like that offense.
Gotta shoot. Gotta shoot.
Yeah. We got to. Well, listen, I just have to, even though this player is probably the higher rated of the underrated that we're speaking of today, I gotta talk about ZaKiyah Johnson. I can't get her name out, but she's a fantastic player. She literally has had amazing standout performances, both preseason and in season. She had 11 points and 11 rebounds. So recording her first double-double as a player, as a freshman, which is amazing. And the one thing about her that I love, and I just look forward to watching so much more, is just her game is amazing. But she changed the tempo every single time she played. Like, she changed the tempo of that game. I'm going to say,
hard guard.
And LSU won, definitely won the game. But there was some, there's some things they need to tool a little bit when it comes, and it's early. So most teams have that to say. But when she came in, she definitely changed the tempo and made a huge impact. And I just love her game. So, and listen, they got to replace Anissa Morrow. So, I mean, she was the double-double machine. So come on in and get them double-doubles right away. You know what I'm saying?
We're seeing a trend. We're seeing a trend, right, with what Mulkey's trying to bring, and we saw it with, of course, Angel Reese as well. So, yeah, I like this pick as well. There are no shortage of players to watch, especially in this true freshman incoming class, and it's going to be wild to see them over the years.
I almost feel like in general, whether it be freshmen or just teams, there's so much good basketball to watch. I mean,
100%.
I'm just sitting here like, where do I focus? I can't. There's too much going on at once. There's too much to watch. But, college basketball, how can you be mad at too much to watch? I don't think there is such a thing. You know what I'm saying?
No, ma'am.
Well, we'll be locked in on the season. And another thing that we're certainly locked in on is the CBA for the WNBA. There are so many updates, so many pieces of movement, one being a 30-day extension that was approved, which I guess is up on November 30th, which happens to be my birthday. I only want a present from the CBA if it's the right one. I'll just put it like that. But Erica, all about these updates you've been doing, whether it be on HQ or writing about it or whatever the case may be. So give us just kind of like all the new things that are happening in the CBA right now.
Well, I think the biggest thing is that both sides have agreed to an extension. So that's the WNBA or the league, which would also extend to the ownership. And of course the Players Association, which is very directly the players. And it was something that, as we saw the tensions starting to play out publicly, we weren't even sure that we would get an extension. Now, just to be clear, if they hadn't agreed on an extension, what would have happened is a period of time known as status quo, where it's basically business as usual. And so it wouldn't have precluded or it wouldn't have created any barriers to the two sides being able to continue to negotiate, including agree on an extension overall. But what also can still happen, Alicia, as we know, even though they've agreed to an extension, is that either side can be like, you know what, this isn't really working, and they can give 48-hour notice that they no longer want to move forward with the extension. And what that would look like on the league side would be a lockout. Now, from the sourcing I've been able to do and people I've been able to speak to, the league, as of the last time I again spoke to people, has no intention of going into lockout mode, which would mean that players are quite literally locked out of the gym. So all these fancy facilities in Phoenix and Seattle and Las Vegas would not be accessible to the players. That would be if the league opts to step away from the negotiation table. The other thing, of course, which a lot of people have been talking more about, would be a work stoppage or a strike. that would be coming from the Players Association or the players side. And again, either one of those things could still happen. League, from what I've been hearing, is not looking to exercise that. We have heard from the players that when they opted out of the original CBA last October, that a work stoppage was always something that they were preparing for, but would be a last resort. So what has to happen between now and Earth Day is that the two sides will continue to negotiate. But where the negotiation seems to, be at a little bit of an impasse is that the players and the league, while they, from again my sourcing, everyone agrees salaries should go up. No one is arguing that. We've seen the numbers, viewership is up, attendance, especially coming off, of course, what we know is the single site COVID year, but even just historically is up. There are all these metrics that we hear from Cathy Engelbert that are going up, up, up. And because of that, players want the revenue share to go up. Their comrades in the National Basketball Association are closer to a 50% revenue share of any business-related income, or basketball-related income. The WNBA players, our best guess is that they're sub 10%, so single-digit percentage. Right.
And Erica, I want to stress this because I feel like people, when they are like, well, the W isn't making money, and, that whole argument that they have, when you see a league that is paying their players 50%, okay, 15% of basketball related income, 9%, I don't care what your argument is, 9% is so incredibly low. And I don't even think the players are even and I don't want to speak for them, but I don't even think they're asking for 50%. They're just saying it should be more than 9.
It needs to be more than 9.
More than 9.
Right. And so from what we've been hearing, what has been reported is that that's where the numbers, Alicia, are a little bit sticky, and that the two sides cannot agree. The players are very bullish. They have been very firm and adamant that, that's where in part where the pay us what you owe us comes from. This league, these players, the Players Association, feels very strongly that the numbers that Cathy Engelbert herself and the league, including Adam Silver in the NBA, that they tout as success numbers, are driven by the players. And I think we can all agree that the players indeed are the product. But if we take the league side of this, what is true is that Cathy Engelbert has revolutionized how business is done in the WNBA. That's not my opinion. That is fact. That whether it is with, the different partnerships or the structure, how she's been able to focus on things, and what she continues to talk about is, what does viability look like? What does sustainability look like? And the argument, as far as I can tell from the league, is that at some point, they're going to go beyond what would be, maybe I'll use the word reasonable or responsible, because they although there is income, whether it's the capital raise, the expansion fees, all of the new broadcast rights deal, all of these things are money in the bank, right? Historic numbers that we're seeing. And I think the league has a concern about, is there a number that pushes them beyond what is viable, sustainable progress holistically? And I think that's where the argument from the league would come from, versus the players saying, well, we wouldn't have any of these gains if it wasn't for us driving that. And I can see both sides. I truly can. And so who's going to blink first? What's the right number? What's the right percentage to get this deal done? I don't know. But I think it's going to take longer than, I guess now less than 30 days. It's going to take longer, in my estimation, than this extension.
Well, I guess we will see. Because as of right now, it seems like there are still more questions, obviously, than there are answers. They're also, I feel like the numbers that they speak of, there's not a lot of transparency around those numbers either. And so it's really hard to say what would be feasible and what
Right.
wouldn't be if I'm not being provided with those facts that we speak of, you know, to be able to say, okay, I understand what you're saying. So there's just a lot of things that need to be ironed out. Obviously, with any CBA there is, but just hope that, you know, sooner than later it does come to pass and that things are right as they should be, you know, with both sides coming together. Because we don't want to hurt the WNBA. We don't want to hurt the impact that the players have had, you know, on this league and how they have driven it. So definitely something that we will have all of our eyes on, and make sure that you lock in so that you're connected. We're going to come to you with all of the new information on this in the weeks to come. So lock in because you don't want to miss any of that. And that's for sure. Well, more WNBA. Let's talk about the coaching vacancies that are in the league that are filling up, literally. You were just at the press conference for Sonia Raman, who is the head coach for the Seattle Storm. Little fact, her wife, Milena, used to coach me at Pacific.
Oh,
Yeah,
see,
she was my
I
coach.
didn't. Oh, look at that. Okay. All right. So then you know what's up. You know that this is somewhat of a homecoming for Sonia's family.
Yes, very much so. But very excited about her as a head coach, and also was very excited that she is the first woman of Indian descent to be a head coach in the WNBA, which is also huge in so many different ways. You were at the press conference. I listened to a little bit of it, but can you just tell us, you know, what was the press conference like? Did she say anything in particular that you'd like to highlight? Obviously, an amazing day for her.
Yeah, 100%. There's a lot of excitement. I think as I started to get to know Sonia a little bit better, she was an assistant coach for those who may not know, with the New York Liberty under Sandy Brondello last season in the 2025. Right? Yes, 25 season. I'm like, what year is it? I don't even know. Yes. Because I'm like last year, but last year was 20. Anyway, this most recent season. And so, but what I found really interesting is, you know, that she has head coach experience at the NCAA level, I believe Division III, but still was there for a very long time, racked up some Coach of the Year awards. Then she talked about going to the NBA and getting NBA experience, and that it was an opportunity for her to, you know, going from a head coach to basically an assistant in the NBA, it was an opportunity for her to do what she was telling her players to do, which is to really test your limits and your boundaries, be, you know, someone who's open to learning, and you know, things of that nature. And so it was her opportunity to do that. Coming back to the WNBA was an opportunity for her to come back to her roots, and coming to Seattle in particular was a very welcome experience for her, not just because of her wife and her wife's connections to the Pacific Northwest, but because they have roots and ties here in Seattle, where I'm at right now. Got my 206 hoodie on. Yeah, let's go. But it also was, and I love this part of her journey, because a la Kara Lawson, or what we've heard from Christy Tolliver, there were times where women's basketball players, or even coaches, assistant coaches, video coordinators, things of that nature, were not invited to pro basketball, you know, just practices to learn. But Seattle was always a place, whether they were playing at UW at a time or practicing at UW, when they were practicing at Pacific, Seattle Pacific, or, you know, now in their new facilities, Sonia has always been invited by Seattle to learn, to be with like minds. And so now she's coming back to a place that was very integral to her development as a coach. And what we're hearing from her is, and there's a lot up in the air, everyone effectively in the WNBA is a free agent. And that's a huge deal when you have players like Nneka Ogwumike, who were most recently on the roster, Skylar Diggins on the roster. But you are hearing a lot about Dominique Malunga, who is their rookie, their number 2 pick. They know she's going to be on the roster for sure. So how much of that is, well, they know they have her on contract. How much of that is she truly is the future? I think we're going to find out under Sonia Raman. I think she wants to be able to really push the needle there. I think also when it came to what she wants to see from her coaching staff, she's definitely someone who, as she said, wants to fill any holes that she feels that she has, or maybe growth opportunities. So she's going to build a staff that's going to help elevate her, which by extension is going to help this team. Now, as far as what Seattle wants to do, they still see themselves as contenders. And what I found interesting is that Talisa was saying, the general manager, that she wants to have conversations with Sonia and build the team and make tweaks as necessary to execute the plan that Sonia has. So again, with everyone being a UFA, almost everyone, this is not just an opportunity for players, but for a team like Seattle to perhaps rebuild and retool in ways that will make them a true contender.
Well, I love what I'm seeing. I love that they're, saying right away that they are going to back this coach with everything that they have and support her in the ways that she needs. And, that is how it should be for every coach. And I really love what they're doing in Seattle. I've always loved what they've done in Seattle, but from the practice facility to the coaching choice now that they've had, all of that, I just really love that they're doing right by whatever team they're going to have coming into this next season.
100%.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, moving on to another team that just got a new coach, that is the expansion team, the Toronto Tempo. Sandy Brondello. Okay, I know you love you some Sandy.
I do.
She was announced that she is the head coach for the Toronto Tempo. And it was really interesting to me that it wasn't her only choice.
No.
It wasn't her only choice. And from what it has been reported, she's actually possibly getting less money at the Tempo, but just felt like it was the right fit for her. And, I'm just ecstatic because when I think about what Sandy Brondello already has done, I think that it's going to be amazing for her to start a team from the ground up. I really 100%. Want to see what she does there. And all of those players are going, to have a really good first year having Sandy Brondello as their head coach.
Yeah, she's already talked about being an Australian herself and, of course, the head coach of the national team, that what she likes about the Tempo is that there are a lot of or more Canadian players than we've seen in quite a while. She's very keen on trying to see if, whether it's through expansion or, again, free agency, if she can bring some of that talent home. You think of Bridget Carlton, you think of Kia Nurse as examples, and so I think it's going to be really interesting. Aaliyah Edwards is another example, all Olympians. So she has an eye on that. I think also just to go back to, of course, Sandy Brondello was most recently with New York. What we heard from Sandy there, and also quite honestly, what we heard from New York is that, this was, in hindsight, I think it was time to move on. And we've seen reports that Seattle was a place that was interested in Sandy Brondello, as they should be. Dallas was a place interested in Seattle. They also have a new head coach that they I believe will be having a press conference this week as well for their new head coach. But what Sandy wanted, I think you said it, is a place where she too, like we talked about Sonia, can be in collaboration and communication with her general manager to be able to build a team in a way that is going to not only fit Sandy and whatever her coaching staff is, their strengths, but also build and really forge ahead with an identity, not just for Toronto, but for all of Canada. This is a team that is representing an entire country in North America. And this is the first team to do that. Hopefully not the last. We'll see where expansion goes. But this is a huge opportunity, and you grab someone with the history, with the track record of Sandy Brondello. And, yes, it's an expansion team. We've seen what Golden State has been able to do, though. But I think that, that this is a team that really wants to try and get it right. And Sandy's a great way to start, in my opinion.
I couldn't agree more. And you mentioned the Toronto Tempo GM, and that is two-time WNBA champion Monica Wright. Okay, she got two of the links, and she's the GM.
Also, can we just pause for the name, because my love and basketball fans
every time.
Every single time.
Every time. And I know she gets tired of it too. I know.
I'm sorry.
But every time the movie's in my head.
It's right there. It's right there.
It's right there. But
wherever you go. Let me stop.
Okay. Don't get me started, Erica.
The soundtrack? Okay, I'm sorry. Let's go. We got to run down. Let's do this.
But two-time WNBA champion Monica Wright. Let's do that. Come on. Is the GM of the Toronto Tempo. And she had something that I love that she said: "We are the only franchise with former WNBA players in the head coach and general manager positions." And I think that just shines through in how we want to approach this team and the approach we take in player quality of care and their experience here with the Tempo. So I just want to make sure I noted that.
Okay.
She gave a little wink afterwards. I'll take a little sip.
Better speak to the people. She know who she's talking to. Listen, she was talking to a very specific contingency of WNBA fans, and I know we all are here for it. But that's real. And, we've talked about it. Where is the space? Where is the room for women who have NBA experience to come back to or just remain in the WNBA? Sandy Brondello is one of those people that has been able to remain. Cheryl Reeve, but now you have Sonia Raman choosing to come back to women's basketball. And it sounds like Toronto wants to be a space to, continue that trend. Even as we see NBA experience perhaps being a trend in the WNBA, that doesn't mean, and it shouldn't sacrifice women, especially women, as I like to say, melanated women, from being able to hold these spaces. So, I think it's going to be interesting, especially because where Sandy just was in New York, they still don't have a coach yet, Alicia.
They don't. And I actually want to ask you about that. But first, let me just break down the other two hires really quickly that were had. So the Dallas Wings, they hired Jose Fernandez from South Florida, who doesn't have NBA experience. This is Dallas's sixth coach since 2018. And it's also important to note that Fernandez has close ties with Gino Auriemma. Mm-hmm. So it could be a good fit for Paige, but we'll see. So that was the hire in Dallas. And then the Portland Fire, who are also an expansion team, my hometown team, as a matter of fact, they hired Alex Sarama as their head coach, a former Cleveland Cavaliers assistant, whose previous coaching stints include the London Lions, Paris Basketball, and the Rip City Remix, which is the G League team for the Portland Trailblazers. So definitely they hired him as a coach too. That was a very interesting hire as far as I was concerned. And a lot of Portland Fire fans also thought it was interesting if you look at the comments. So go find those yourself. But those two hires happened, and then there's New York. The Liberty do not have a head coach yet. What are your thoughts on that as a New York Liberty fan?
Well, as someone who signed a 45-minute contract with the team, I will just say I have been coached briefly by Sandy Brondello and Sonia Raman. No, all jokes aside, it was a great almost hour of pro experience. But I'll say it this way. The New York Liberty probably don't have a coach yet because, as far as I'm concerned, the best coach that we knew to be on the market, they let go of.
Say that.
Listen.
Where do you go from there?
That's what I'm saying. They have to get this right, because when you are in a championship window, now listen, all respect to Seattle. I'm in Seattle right now. I love me some Seattle. When Seattle says they're in a championship window, and when the New York Liberty, who are your 2024 champions, say they're in a championship window, that's two different things. I know it's the Liberties first, but they are the second most recent title, only second to the Aces, who just won this year. The Seattle Storm, they do have 4 titles, but it's been a minute. It's been a minute. And for me, the New York Liberty have to get this right, because I've said it before, having someone who's coming into their first head coaching role, period, point blank, that's a heavy task for a brand new head coach to remain in a championship window, because the New York Liberty should be still in that championship window. I think a lot of valid questions were raised with how the season ended for the Liberty, even if you could push aside the injuries, which were a significant piece of where they ended up. Even if you push that to the side, there are still questions that needed to be answered. Did they need to make a coaching change? The team seems to think so. Again, Sandy Brondello, in hindsight, felt, yeah, perhaps it was time to move on, just a different direction. But if this is a team that says they're following trends, that they don't want to just follow trends, the New York Liberty, that is, but they want to be ahead of the trends, they have to get this right. And to me, that's not someone who's a first-time head coach. Maybe it is someone with NBA experience, but I still think that having women's basketball experience, and specifically WNBA experience, should still have value, because there are things that you get used to when you work in the NBA. Sonia talked about the resources. She wanted to know what it was like to exercise her basketball brain with unlimited resources. That's why she went to the NBA. If that's all you know, and then you come into the WNBA, your brain might break.
Well, yeah, that would be an awakening. That's as nice as I could put it. For sure.
You're going to have to MacGyver some things, okay?
Yeah.
And it's the same on the NCAA side. There's perhaps, depending on the program you come from, a little bit more player development, which some coaches like, and that's another trend that we're seeing. But you don't have time. Ain't nobody got time for that in the WNBA. You don't have the roster spots for that. You might not even have the staff and personnel for that. So they have to get this right. I'm not sure where they're going to pull from, but they have to get it right. And if they run up to the 11th hour to have an exhaustive, search, then that's what they need to do. They do, though, need to figure it out before free agency, because as we've heard in these press conferences, knowing who the head coach is when the overwhelming majority of the league are free agents, that's going to be huge. And so even though we don't have a CBA, Toronto, Dallas, Portland, Seattle, these are all places where now players who've worked under some of these coaches can say, oh, maybe that's a place I should talk to when it comes to free agency. Or maybe it's vice versa. That's maybe not the system or the vibe that works for me. But New York right now, highly sought after destination for a lot of other reasons, but they don't have a head coach. And could that be a deal breaker for some players? Yeah, I think it could be.
There are so many amazing opportunities in the W to play. And when you look at the success of a team like the Valkyries, who had really great success in that first year, those expansion teams aren't off the table at all. As a matter of fact, they might look better to some of these players who are in free agency. And so when you don't have the players locked in, because everybody is just free right now, as not everybody, but close to everybody is free right now. When you don't have those players locked in, and when you don't have a coach, and when the coaching change was such a staggering thing, even to the players that were on the team, you got to make that right. And right now, it just doesn't, I don't know. It's like, who would it be at this point? When you look at, the vacancies that are already filled and the people who are still out there to be had. So yeah, you do. It's a fine line, because you have to find the right person, but you don't want to wait too long because of the state of where the WNBA is at right now. So
that's it.
Something we will be keeping close tabs on. And another thing that I can't even believe we're already talking about, because literally it's right around the corner in less than 100 days. Less than 100 days, 93 days to be exact. The Winter Olympics start up. Erica.
I'm so excited. I'm so excited.
Too.
This will be my second Winter Olympics that I will be at in person. I'm so excited. Some of y'all know I'm a hockey girly.
What?
Listen, I'm also a New Yorker, so y'all have me at Italy. Y'all have me at pasta. Y'all have me at legit pizza. Like I'm ready to go.
Emma. Erica's already going. So we need to work this in. Let's do some live pods from Italy, okay?
Let's go. Let's do it.
Oh, man. Well, one thing that we know for sure is that it's going to be a guaranteed good time. So as we're going to talk about these Olympics, we have to do the AT&T Guarantee of the Week presented by AT&T. And this week, we are going to talk all about what we are looking forward to and what we guarantee to happen with these Winter Olympics that are 93 days away. So what is your guarantee when it comes to the Winter Olympics?
All right, here, Alicia, book it. My guarantee is that women will be the story of Team USA for Milan Cortina 2026, or as the Italians say, Milano Cortina 2026. You have so many great storylines. The figure skating, there are a lot of things that went down in figure skating since the last Olympics, and some redemption coming there. But the figure skating Team USA just had a summit in New York City. I was at that, and the figure skating team, they feel ready for competition. You have the sliding sports, which include the luge, skeleton, bobsled. Alana Myers-Taylor is such a legend, icon. There are not enough words to describe what she's been able to do, especially bringing former track and field athletes into winter sports and the Winter Olympics via sliding sports. But not only is she a pioneer bringing in especially Black women into the sport, but she is she is trying to go for her fifth Olympics, I think it is, and has already won Olympic medals. She's doing so while being a mom. She's amazing. I got to talk about hockey. Always USA Canada is going to be exciting, but Layla Edwards is on track to be the first Black woman to represent USA Hockey in an ice hockey tournament at an Olympics. Sarah Nurse did that on the Canadian side, the last two Olympics and last Olympics in Beijing. My first Olympics, I got to witness her become the first Black woman to win an Olympic gold medal in ice hockey. And then, I have to also talk about Lindsey Vonn. Lindsey Vonn said, I ain't got nothing to prove to nobody. Period, point blank. But she heard the haters as she was trying to just find her joy again, find her stride, her body again. And she was like, noted, clocked it. And so she's coming back to Cortina in particular, where we'll see the downhill competitions, because it's a place that's been near and dear to her, where she's been able to cut her teeth as a pro, as an Olympian, a course that she's very familiar with. And yeah, she's ready to make history of her own. Her age is something that is one of the topic areas, but she's unfazed and unbothered by it. She's ready to enjoy her sport and say goodbye one last time, a la, George Washington and Hamilton. But I guarantee that Team USA, especially the women of Team USA, are coming out here to play. They are about serious business. They are about the podium. And there are going to be some great storylines, some great performances, we hope, from who we'll see representing the United States.
Yeah, we definitely are going to be all over that thing when it comes to the Winter Olympics for sure. And I just want to mention Chloe Kim. And I am so excited. Snowboarding is definitely one of the sports that I love watching. There's so many of them, but it's one in particular that I love watching. And she's a 2-time snowboard Olympic champion. and she's aiming to become the first snowboarder to win 3 consecutive gold medals, which would be huge. And my guarantee is that she's gonna do that. That's what my guarantee is.
Let's go.
Pressure. I don't think she gets pressure, but she's gonna do that. And so I'm really looking forward to see what all the women do in these games. And like you said, they're gonna be at the top. They're gonna be out there. People are gonna see all of these achievements. And Lindsey Vonn too. I got to give all the love. And she doesn't need luck because she has skill, but all of that to her because she hasn't qualified yet. But we know that she is on stride to do that. And
100%.
Girl, who cares about your age? Go ahead and do that. She's overcome so much.
She's oh my gosh.
Always either in the gym, she's doing something. We did an interview with her and we were talking about her overcoming injuries then and everything that she had done then. So and definitely check that out as well. And also smash that like button on the things that you watch, you guys. We need that. Okay? All the things. But go back and take a look at that interview that we did with her. It was amazing to talk with her about it. And I know she was kind of going back and forth then about what she was going to do. And I'm just elated that she's like, I'm going for it, period.
Gotta go for it. It's wild to me though. Like we had the media summit at 100 days, but so many of those athletes now are going into their competition to qualify. So some of the athletes, a lot of the athletes that we talked about are not qualified yet, but November is a big month to see some of these athletes compete, including Layla Edwards. We've got the rivalry series this week. It's an exhibition between USA and Canada on women's hockey side, figure skating, again, the sliding sports, all of these qualifiers are coming up. So we will definitely keep you locked in there. But again, the guarantee is great storylines coming from the women.
Great storylines. Little fact, I used to ice skate. I had the outfit. I had all the accessories, but then I became 6'3" and my body was like, what are you doing? What are you doing out here on the ice? So pivoted to basketball, but
I mean, you could still hang with hockey, Layla Edwards, she's still playing in Wisconsin along with Caroline Harvey. This is actually the first year that the players are still competing NCAA. That's a whole nother story. I can get into the knit and grit if y'all want. When y'all are ready for the hockey episode, y'all call me, okay? But some 6'1" folks up in there. You could be a defender. You know what I'm saying? Pow, knocking people out.
Listen, I might have to do a rec league or something like that.
Come on now.
Collegiate is way back there. You know what I'm saying? But speaking of collegiate, we had an amazing interview today with the NCAA Woman of the Year. She's she's an alum now, but was a softball player at UT Tyler and is in medical school there now. But she's done some amazing things. Her name is Sam Schott. And I just had the best time talking with her and talking about this amazing, title award that she has gotten as the NCAA Woman of the Year. So let's check it out now. Please welcome Sam Schott to the show. Thank you so much for being here.
Yes, thank y'all for having me.
Wow. So listen, congratulations is in order for sure with this huge accomplishment. When they told you that you were the 2025 NCAA Woman of the Year, what was your reaction and what does it mean to you to win this phenomenal title? I mean, I can't imagine like somebody telling me that.
Yeah, so the first thing I did, I told my parents. My mom definitely started crying when I told her, and I immediately started doing some research about this award, and I started to see the people who have won it in the past, and I kind of started to wonder why me, why was I chosen, but honestly, I'm just so grateful right now, and I truly just think it shows how God's used me throughout my life and my time here at Tyler. So just a heart of gratitude right now and that moment when I first got the news.
Well, and just to give everybody just kind of like how many people were nominated for this, there were 631 nominees across 3 NCAA divisions. And when you look at that and the amount of people who were nominated, and then you are literally the one that was selected, what does it mean to you in your overall softball career to have this be a title that you got?
Yeah, obviously, it is an amazing title and just a little background to the award, I loved how it wasn't solely an athletic thing, though, because I did have accomplishments on the field, but I definitely played around other girls in our conference on my team who were more athletically accomplished than I. So that is something I do appreciate about this award, and that the NCAA does recognize us for more than just our athletic accomplishments, but our overall college careers as students as well, because we are student athletes. So recognizing that part as well.
Absolutely. I used to be a student athlete myself. I know how hard it can be, right? But, just so everybody knows, like you said, it's not just what you do out there on the softball field. It's academic achievement, athletics excellence, community service, and leadership. And when you look at all of those aspects, how did each one of those fuel you as an athlete?
Honestly, a big part of my story was just medical mission trips is a big part of who I was and still am. And honestly, getting to go down to Guatemala and just serve people down there, it just makes you more grateful for everything in life that we are blessed with, to get to go to school and play a college sport. Talking to some of the people down there, they didn't realize you could go to college and play a college sport. So just that realization of how lucky I was, and grateful for the girls and the coaches and the university who just support us in every aspect. It just truly did make me grateful for each day I got to step on the field.
Well, being on the field, doing things like going to Guatemala, right, which is a huge thing in itself, and all of the other things that you've accomplished. I mean, it just seems like it's so hard to balance. What was like a moment where, or was there a moment, I should say, where you thought, maybe I can't do all of this? And how did you overcome that?
Yeah, that's a great question. Freshman year, it can be really overwhelming, and especially when you're trying to think about your future, but also think about being in the moment and making the most of your college career. So that is a difficulty that student athletes are faced with, but truly you just have to take it day by day. I don't know if there was a certain time where that truly clicked in my head. I would say, if anything, that happened after my freshman year, when I realized how fast this season did go by, and realizing that I only had 3 years left of the sport that I had played my whole life. But truly, you just have to take it day by day, and it's easier said than done, but you just have to be grateful for all the opportunities, because each day is an opportunity in itself.
Erica, when we were in that interview, I was just thinking about all the nominees, like over 600 nominees for this, and to be selected as the NCAA Woman of the Year. I mean, I just could not believe the amount of accolades she had, all the work that she did in the community, not to mention what she did on the field, but just to be selected as the NCAA Woman of the Year is phenomenal. And I'm just really
100%.
excited to see how all of this translates into the doctor that she is becoming now.
I mean, I love it. And that's why I love the interviews that we're able to do on this program. And you do such a great job of, balancing and bouncing back and forth between the athlete, that is the through line here, but also what does that all mean? And I love hearing those stories. So, and it doesn't hurt that it's softball related. Some of y'all know I played college softball. Go Elon. Go Phoenix. But so I love it.
Yeah, I love it too. And you just saw a little portion of the interview, but make sure you go on YouTube to watch the entire interview, and make sure that you're locked in with each and every one of our socials, that you like, comment, subscribe, and just connect on every platform that we have, because we're going to be bringing you the latest and the greatest in the WNBA and women's sports, always right here on We Need to Talk Now, presented by AT&T.